The champagne cork hit the ceiling of our bedroom, and I watched my wife Emily celebrate her promotion with the enthusiasm I hadn't seen in months. What I didn't know was that she'd been celebrating with her boss for the past 4 weeks, and the evidence was currently uploading to my laptop downstairs. Let me back up 6 hours. My name is David Patterson, and until this Tuesday afternoon in March, I thought I had it all figured out. 15 years of marriage to my college sweetheart, 2 kids, Tyler, 13, and Madison, 10, a comfortable house in suburban Atlanta, and careers that finally seemed to be hitting their stride. Emily had just made partner at Whitmore and Associates, one of the city's premier marketing firms. I ran a successful construction business that I'd built from the ground up. We weren't rich, but we were stable, happy. Or so I believed. The first crack appeared at 2:47 p.m. when Tyler called me from school. "Dad, can you pick me up? Mom was supposed to get me early for my orthodontist appointment, but she's not answering her phone." I checked my watch. The appointment was at 3:30, and Emily had specifically taken the afternoon off for this. She'd marked it on our shared calendar 3 weeks ago. "Sure, buddy, I'll be there in 10. I left my foreman Jake in charge of the Buckhead renovation and headed to Riverside Middle School. Tyler climbed into my truck, already apologetic. "Sorry, Dad." I texted Mom like 5 times. "It's fine. She probably got caught up in meetings." But even as I said it, something felt off. Emily was obsessive about the kids' appointments. She'd rather reschedule a meeting with the governor than miss one of their events. The orthodontist's office was its usual circus of teenagers with metal mouths. While Tyler got his brackets adjusted, I tried calling Emily. Straight to voicemail. I sent a text. "Had to grab Tyler. Everything okay?" No response. By the time we got home at 5, I'd called 4 more times. Madison was already there. The bus had dropped her off and she'd let herself in with her key. Still no word from Emily. "Is Mom okay?" Madison asked, hovering in the kitchen doorway with that worried expression she got whenever things felt uncertain. "I'm sure she's fine, sweetheart. Probably just a long meeting that ran over." I forced confidence into my voice. "How about we start dinner? We can surprise her." But I wasn't confident. Not anymore. Emily always let someone know if she was going to be late. It was one of her things. She hated when people didn't communicate. At 5:43 p.m., I did something I'd never done before. I opened the Find My Phone app on my laptop. We'd set up location sharing years ago, back when the kids were little and we wanted to be able to find each other in emergencies. We'd never turned it off, never had a reason to. Privacy wasn't an issue when you trusted someone completely. The blue dot that represented Emily's phone sat stationary at a location I didn't recognize. I zoomed in. The Riverside Marriott, about 4 miles from her office. My stomach dropped. There could be a million explanations, I told myself. A client meeting. A conference room rental. Maybe her phone died and she borrowed someone else's to make calls, left hers charging in a hotel conference room. But she would have called by now. Borrowed someone's phone. Something. I stared at that blue dot for a full minute, my mind racing through possibilities, each one worse than the last. Then I noticed something else on my laptop screen. A notification from our cloud storage. New photos uploaded from Emily's phone. We shared a family cloud account. Everything uploaded automatically. The kids' school photos, vacation pictures, random snapshots of daily life. I'd set it up that way so we'd never lose memories if a phone got damaged or lost. I clicked on the notification. The thumbnail was small, but I could make out enough. A hotel room. Emily's distinctive auburn hair, and someone else. My hands started shaking. I clicked to expand the image, and my world tilted sideways. Emily. In a hotel robe that had clearly just been opened. A man's hand on her waist, his face visible over her shoulder in what appeared to be a bathroom mirror selfie. He was younger than me, maybe early 30s, with the kind of styled hair and expensive watch that screamed corporate executive. The timestamp read 2:23 p.m., less than 4 hours ago. I sat there, frozen, staring at my laptop screen in our home office while my daughter watched TV in the living room and my son did homework upstairs. The smell of the chicken I'd started marinating filled the house. Everything was exactly as it should be, except nothing would ever be the same. Another photo uploaded. Then another. My wife, documenting her own affair, completely unaware that every image was being sent directly to our shared family account. To me. I should have looked away. Closed the laptop. But I couldn't. I watched them upload one by one, not explicit, thankfully, but intimate enough. Hotel room scenes, champagne glasses, Emily laughing in a way I hadn't seen in months, her head thrown back, genuine joy on her face. The final photo showed them both, clearly taken by him. Emily tucked against his chest, his arm around her shoulders, both of them smiling at the camera like they were on vacation together. Like they were a couple. Like I didn't exist. That's when I heard the garage door open. The garage door rumbled closed behind her. I heard her keys hit the ceramic bowl in the entryway. The same bowl Madison had made in 3rd grade, now holding the keys of a woman who'd spent her afternoon in a hotel room with another man. I was standing in the kitchen, phone still in my hand. Those photos burned into my vision. Tyler had retreated to his room. Madison was at the dining table with her homework, colored pencils scattered across her math worksheet. "Hey, everyone!" Emily's voice carried that forced brightness I'd started noticing over the past month. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was absolutely insane." She appeared in the kitchen doorway, auburn hair slightly mussed, lipstick refreshed but not quite matching her morning shade. Her blouse was wrinkled near the hem. Madison looked up. "Mom, where were you?" Tyler had his orthodontist thing. "Oh my God." Emily's hand flew to her mouth, but the surprise looked rehearsed. "That was today?" "I had it down for Thursday. I'm so sorry, sweetheart." She didn't look at me. That's what I noticed first. Her eyes slid past me to the refrigerator, to the counter, to the sink, anywhere but my face. "David picked him up," Madison said. "He was really upset." I know. Work has been crazy." Emily finally met my gaze for a half-second. "I'll make it up to him." "Is he in his room?" I nodded, not trusting my voice yet. She disappeared upstairs. I heard her knock on Tyler's door, heard the murmur of her apology through the ceiling. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Another cloud notification. I didn't need to look. Madison was watching me. "Dad, are you okay?" "Fine, honey, just tired." The lie tasted like copper. "How about you work on your homework and I'll start dinner?" She nodded slowly, not believing me, but willing to pretend. Kids always know. I moved through the motions of making dinner like a robot. Chicken breasts from the freezer. Vegetables from the crisper drawer. My hands knew the routine even as my brain replayed those photos on a loop. Emily laughing. Emily's hand on his chest. Emily in a hotel room at 2:23 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Emily came back downstairs 20 minutes later, changed into yoga pants and a sweatshirt. "Tyler's doing homework. I think he forgives me." "Good." She moved to the counter beside me, reaching for the cutting board. "I'll do the salad." We worked in silence. This kitchen had seen 15 years of dinners, of morning coffee, of midnight snacks when the kids were babies and sleep was a luxury. We'd renovated it 3 years ago. Emily had spent weeks choosing the perfect backsplash tiles. Now those tiles witnessed us moving around each other like strangers, careful not to touch. So work was busy. I kept my voice neutral. Crazy busy. The Hendrix account is demanding a complete rebrand, and you know how particular they are. She was slicing cucumber with precise, even cuts. We had a strategy session that ran way over. The lie came so smoothly. I wondered how many others I'd swallowed in the past month. At the office? What? The knife paused. The strategy session? At your office? Of course. Where else would it be? She resumed cutting, faster now. Why? I could confront her right here, show her the photos, watch her face crumble. But Madison was 10 feet away and Tyler was upstairs, and some part of me wasn't ready to detonate our family over the dinner I was cooking. Just asking. You didn't answer your phone. My phone? She pulled it from her pocket, frowned at the screen. Oh, I must have had it on silent. Sorry. Another lie. I'd watched her location at the Marriott for 90 minutes. She'd felt every call decline, every text arrive. No problem. I turned back to the stove. Glad the meeting went well. We ate dinner like a normal family. Madison talked about her science project. Tyler mumbled about needing new cleats. Emily asked about my renovation project in Buckhead. I answered in complete sentences that meant nothing. After dinner, Emily volunteered to handle dishes. I retreated to my home office, closed the door, and opened my laptop. The cloud storage account showed 43 photos uploaded today. I'd only seen 6 on my phone. I clicked through them with a sick fascination, watching my wife's afternoon unfold in reverse chronological order. 5:47 p.m. Emily's car in our driveway. She'd taken a photo of the sunset over our roof. Why? Some kind of alibi image? 4:12 p.m. Her hand holding a Starbucks cup in her car, establishing a cover story. 3:38 p.m. The hotel lobby, shot from a strange angle like she'd been trying to photograph something else and caught it accidentally. Then the gap. Nothing between 2:47 p.m. and 3:38 p.m. 51 minutes unaccounted for. 2:47 p.m. The photo that had uploaded while she stood in our living room. Him kissing her cheek while she smiled at the camera. 2:23 p.m. through 2:45 p.m. The sequence I'd already seen. The hotel room, the champagne, the intimacy. 1:58 p.m. Emily's lunch. A salad from the place near her office. Time-stamped and geotagged. Building her alibi even then. I scrolled further back. Yesterday, nothing unusual. Sunday, family photos from Madison's soccer game. Saturday, pictures of paint samples. Emily had been talking about repainting the guest room. Then Friday, 3:15 p.m. A photo of a coffee shop table, 2 cups visible. Her hand and a man's hand, both holding menus. The metadata showed a location downtown, near her office. Thursday, 6:47 p.m. A blurry shot that looked accidental. A restaurant interior, dim lighting. In the background, barely visible, Emily sitting across from someone in a booth. I went back further. Wednesday of last week. Tuesday. Monday. Once I knew what to look for, the pattern emerged like invisible ink under heat. Lunches that ran long. Coffee meetings. Accidental photos that captured reflections, backgrounds, shadows of a second person. 4 weeks. I'd been right about the timeline. My phone buzzed. Jake, my foreman. Foundation inspection passed. We're good to frame tomorrow. I stared at the text. This morning, that message would have made my day. The Buckhead project was my biggest contract this year. Now it felt like news from another planet. I heard Emily's footsteps on the stairs, heading to our bedroom. The shower turned on. I imagined her washing away the afternoon, the hotel soap, the evidence. Did she think about him while the water ran? Did she think about me at all? My laptop screen had gone dark. I touched the trackpad, and those photos blazed back to life. Emily laughing. Emily radiant. Emily looking happier than I'd seen her in months. That's what hurt most. Not the betrayal itself, but the joy in her face. When had she last looked at me like that? I opened a new browser tab and typed Divorce Attorney Atlanta. Dozens of results appeared. I clicked on the first one, Whitfield and Associates, rated 4.8 stars, specializing in high-asset divorce cases. Their contact form glowed on my screen. Name, email, phone, brief description of your situation. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Once I sent this, there was no taking it back. No pretending I didn't know. No more normal family dinners where we all played our roles. The shower shut off upstairs. Emily would be drying off, putting on the pajamas I'd given her for Christmas, brushing her teeth with the electric toothbrush we'd bought together at Costco. All the tiny intimacies of marriage now contaminated. I typed, David Patterson, need consultation regarding divorce, wife having affair, have photographic evidence. My cursor hovered over the submit button. Madison's voice drifted from the living room. She was singing along to something on TV, off-key and unself-conscious. Tyler's door opened upstairs, and I heard him ask Emily something about his science homework. Normal life, happening all around me. Normal life that was already over, even if they didn't know it yet. I clicked submit. The confirmation message appeared. Thank you for contacting Whitfield and Associates. Someone will respond within 24 hours. 24 hours. By this time tomorrow, I'd be sitting across from a lawyer, discussing asset division and custody arrangements and the systematic dismantling of 15 years. I cleared my browser history, a habit now, keeping secrets just like her, and closed my laptop. Upstairs, Emily was reading to Madison. I could hear the murmur of her voice through the ceiling, that same voice that had read to our daughter every night since she was born. The same voice that had said, I do, 15 years ago. The same voice that had lied to me 3 hours ago about where she'd been. The clock on my laptop read 11:47 p.m. when I finally closed the photo album. 43 pictures from today. God knows how many more I hadn't scrolled back to find yet. I needed to think clearly, document everything properly. I opened a new folder on my desktop, labeled it Tax Documents 2024, because Emily sometimes used my laptop when hers was charging. Inside, I created subfolders by date and started organizing screenshots. Every photo, every timestamp, every location tag. My construction business had taught me the value of thorough documentation. Inspectors didn't accept, I'm pretty sure we did that. They wanted proof, dated, and filed. By 1:30 a.m., I had everything organized chronologically. The affair had started March 12th, exactly 2 weeks after her promotion to partner. The first photos showed coffee meetings that could have been innocent. A Starbucks on Peachtree. Then lunch at a bistro in Buckhead. His hand on her lower back as they walked to his car. The hotel photos started March 19th. A week ago. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Quickly minimized everything, pulled up a random contractor invoice. Emily appeared in the doorway, wearing the oversized Braves t-shirt she slept in. You're still up? Couldn't sleep. Reviewing the Brown project bids. The lie came easier than it should have. You work too hard. She crossed to where I sat, kissed the top of my head. Her lips felt like ice against my scalp. Coming to bed soon? Yeah, just need to finish this. She lingered a moment, her hand resting on my shoulder. I wondered if she could feel how rigid I'd gone, but she just squeezed gently and patted back down the hall. I waited until I heard our bedroom door click shut before I let out the breath I'd been holding. Wednesday morning arrived with cruel normalcy. Madison wanted French toast. Tyler couldn't find his science homework. Emily rushed around the kitchen in her navy suit, the one that made her look like she owned the world. Big day? I asked, pouring coffee. Partner meeting at 9. Then I'm doing the Riverside development pitch at 2. She grabbed her travel mug. Might run late again. How late? She paused, just a fraction of a second. Probably 6:30, 7. I nodded, flipping Madison's French toast. I'll handle dinner. Emily kissed my cheek. The same cheek she'd kissed yesterday before spending the afternoon in a hotel room with someone else. You're the best. Love you. Love you too. The words felt like broken glass in my mouth. After I dropped the kids at school, I didn't head to the Buckhead site. Instead, I drove to a strip mall in Dunwoody and parked outside a storefront with Pearson and Associates Family Law stenciled on the window. The receptionist, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, looked up when I entered. Do you have an appointment? No, I called last night. Late. Left a message. Mr. Patterson? I nodded. Mr. Pearson came in early specifically for you. Let me let him know you're here. The office smelled like leather and old books. Diplomas lined the walls. University of Georgia, Emory Law. Photos showed Pearson shaking hands with various officials, accepting awards, cutting ribbons. Mr. Patterson. The man who emerged from the back office was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s with graying temples and a firm handshake. Brian Pearson, come on back. His office overlooked a small courtyard. He gestured to a chair across from his desk, then settled into his own. You said on your message you needed to discuss a divorce. How long have you been married? 15 years. 2 kids, 13 and 10. And what's prompted this decision? I pulled out my phone, opened the photo app, and slid it across the desk. Pearson's expression didn't change as he scrolled. Professional neutrality, probably practiced over hundreds of cases, but his jaw tightened slightly. When did you discover this? Yesterday. She doesn't know I have these. They auto-upload to our family cloud storage. She's been taking them on her phone. How many photos are there? Hundreds, probably. I've only gone back a few weeks. He handed my phone back. Do you know who he is? No. But based on the timeline, it started right after her promotion. I'm guessing someone at her firm. Pearson opened a legal pad, started taking notes. Georgia is a no-fault divorce state, which means adultery doesn't technically affect the divorce itself. However, it can impact alimony and asset division, especially if marital funds were used to facilitate the affair. She's been coming home late a lot. Work dinners. I never questioned it. Do you have joint bank accounts? Yes. I'll need you to pull statements from the last 3 months. Look for charges at hotels, restaurants, anywhere that might indicate affair-related expenses. If she's been using marital funds, that's dissipation of assets. The court takes that seriously. I nodded, making mental notes. What about her income versus yours? She makes about $90,000. I gross around $220 with the business, but that fluctuates. Assets? House is worth about $450. We owe $280. Retirement accounts, some savings. My business. Pearson wrote steadily. The business complicates things. We'll need a valuation. Do you want to keep it? It's all I know how to do. Then we'll fight for it. He looked up. Here's what I need you to do. First, open a separate bank account tomorrow. Don't drain your joint account, but start redirecting your income. Second, gather every financial document you can. Tax returns, bank statements, credit card bills, retirement account statements. Third, document everything related to the affair. Screenshots, dates, times, locations. Create a timeline. I've already started that. Good. Fourth, and this is important, do not confront her yet. Do not tell her you know. The moment you do, she'll lawyer up and start hiding assets. My hands clenched. I have to sit across from her every night, pretending everything's fine? For now, yes. I know it's hard. But we need time to build an airtight case. He leaned forward. Mr. Patterson, I've been doing this for 18 years. The spouse who strikes first, strategically and with preparation, typically comes out ahead. Give me 2 weeks to get our ducks in a row. Can you do that? 2 weeks of French toast and coffee kisses and love you too. Yeah, I said. I can do that. I spent the rest of Wednesday pulling bank records. Our joint checking account told a story I'd been too trusting to see. Charges at the Capitol Grill. We never ate there. The Riverside Marriott, multiple times. A wine bar in Buckhead I'd never heard of. All on days she'd texted me about working late. I created a spreadsheet. Date, location, amount, Emily's stated reason for being late. The pattern was damning. Every client dinner matched a hotel charge. Every strategy session lined up with expensive restaurant bills. Total spent on the affair in 6 weeks, 3,847, our money. The money I earned sweating through 90-degree days on construction sites. The money that was supposed to go toward Tyler's braces and Madison's soccer league and our family vacation to the Outer Banks this summer. She'd spent it on hotel rooms and wine and whatever else she did with him. My phone buzzed. Emily. Running late? Shocker, I know. Don't wait on me for dinner. Should be home by 8. I stared at the message, checked the cloud upload folder. 3 new photos, time-stamped 6:17 p.m., same hotel room, same man. Emily wearing a black dress I'd never seen before. I texted back, no problem, see you tonight. Then I opened my banking app and set up a new account at a different bank. Transferred $5,000, enough to cover immediate expenses, not enough to look like I was hiding assets. Pearson's words echoed. The spouse who strikes first, strategically and with preparation, typically comes out ahead. I was done being the trusting husband. It was time to be strategic. The receipt from Artisan's Loft fell out of Emily's purse Thursday morning while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping, not technically. Her bag had tipped over on the kitchen counter, spilling its contents across the granite. Lipstick, breath mints, her work ID badge, and a crumpled slip of thermal paper that landed face up next to my coffee mug. Art supplies. $127.43. Beginner's watercolor set. Premium sketch pad. Charcoal pencils, set of 12. The date stamp read March 25th, 2 days ago. I stood there, coffee halfway to my lips, staring at items my wife had never mentioned purchasing. Emily didn't paint. She'd never shown the slightest interest in art beyond occasionally browsing galleries when we vacationed. Her idea of creative expression was color-coding her project management spreadsheets. Everything okay? Emily emerged from the hallway, hair wrapped in a towel, wearing her navy robe. I crumpled the receipt casually and tossed it in the trash. Fine, just making breakfast. Want eggs? No time. She grabbed her phone from the counter, fingers already flying across the screen. I've got that early meeting, remember? She'd mentioned no such meeting. I nodded anyway. After she left, 20 minutes earlier than usual, I retrieved the receipt from the trash and photographed it. Then I opened her shared calendar. Nothing about art classes appeared anywhere. No recurring events, no blocked time, nothing. But her location history told a different story. Artisan's Loft, a studio in the converted warehouse district downtown, appeared 3 times in the past 2 weeks. Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Last Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. I pulled up the studio's website on my phone. The homepage showed exposed brick walls, paint-splattered easels, and smiling students gathered around a tall, dark-haired instructor whose bio identified him as Julian Torres, lead instructor and studio director. The class schedule listed evening figure drawing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, weekend watercolor workshop on Saturdays. My hands felt cold despite the warm coffee mug. I called Brian Pearson at 8:47 a.m. More evidence? His voice carried that measured tone lawyers perfect, interested but not surprised. She's taking art classes, didn't tell me. Bought supplies, attending regularly, nothing on our shared calendar. Could be innocent, Brian said, but I heard the skepticism. People take up hobbies. The same week she started the affair. She's never mentioned art in 15 years. Document everything. Receipts, locations, times. If there's an instructor involved, there is. Male. Runs the studio. Brian exhaled slowly. Don't jump to conclusions yet. But yes, document it. See if you can verify who she's interacting with there. After we hung up, I sat in my truck outside Tyler's school, watching parents drop off their kids, and made a decision that felt both rational and insane. I called Artisan's Loft. "Good morning, this is Chloe. How can I help you?" The voice was young, enthusiastic. "Hi, I'm interested in beginner classes. I've never painted before, but I'd like to try something new." "That's wonderful. We have openings in our Tuesday-Thursday evening sessions. Those are figure drawing classes, great for learning proportion and shading. Or if you prefer color work, we have Saturday watercolors." The Tuesday-Thursday class sounds perfect. What time? 7 to 9:30. Julian teaches that one personally. He's amazing with beginners. I registered under my own name. She didn't recognize it. Why would she? I paid the $240 registration fee with my new separate account and received a confirmation email with a supply list. That evening, I told Emily I was meeting a potential client for drinks. On a Thursday? She looked up from her laptop, surprised. "Big commercial project. Guys only available evenings this week." She nodded, already turning back to her screen. "Okay, I'll heat up leftovers for the kids." "What about you?" "I'm going to that art class I mentioned." My heart stopped. "Art class?" "Yeah, I told you last week. Remember? I said I wanted to try something creative, take my mind off work stress." She hadn't mentioned anything, not one word. But I smiled, nodded. "Right, sorry, forgot. That's tonight?" "Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's really relaxing." She said it so casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Where's it at?" "Downtown. That warehouse district studio. Artisan's Loft." "Sounds nice. What time will you be home?" "Probably 10. Class ends at 9:30, but sometimes we stay after to clean up, chat about the work." We chat about the work. I left at 6:30, drove to the construction site to establish my alibi with Jake, then headed downtown. I parked 2 blocks from the studio and walked, wearing a baseball cap and an old jacket Emily wouldn't recognize. The studio occupied the ground floor of a converted textile factory. Through the tall windows, I could see easels arranged in a semicircle, students already arriving, setting up supplies. I waited until 6:58, then walked in. Chloe greeted me at the front desk, early 20s, paint-stained apron, genuine smile. "You must be David. Welcome. Let me show you to the classroom." The space smelled like turpentine and coffee. Exposed ductwork ran across the ceiling, industrial pendant lights hanging low over the work areas. About 12 easels formed a loose circle around a raised platform with a draped chair. Julian Torres stood near the platform, talking with an older woman about charcoal techniques. He was maybe 35, athletic build, wearing dark jeans and a gray Henley with paint stains on the sleeves. His hair was slightly too long, artfully messy in that way that probably took effort. "Everyone, this is David, joining us for the first time." Chloe's announcement drew friendly nods from the other students. "David, grab any open easel. Julian will get you started in a minute." I chose a spot with a clear view of the door and settled in, arranging the supplies I'd bought that afternoon. Cheap charcoal pencils, a basic sketch pad, nothing fancy. At 7:03, Emily walked in. She wore dark jeans and a loose cream sweater I'd never seen before, her hair down instead of in its usual work bun. She looked younger somehow, relaxed in a way she hadn't seemed at home in weeks. Emily, perfect timing. Julian's face lit up when he saw her. He crossed the room in 3 strides, touching her elbow as he leaned in to say something I couldn't hear. She laughed, tilting her head back, her hand briefly resting on his forearm. My chest tightened. I kept my head down, adjusting my easel, grateful for the cap's brim. Emily set up at an easel on the opposite side of the circle, still talking with Julian. He brought her a cup of coffee from the station near the windows. Prepared how? Had he asked her preference before? Learned how she took it? All right, everyone, let's get started. Julian clapped his hands together, moving to the center of the circle. Tonight we're focusing on gesture drawing, capturing movement and emotion rather than perfect detail. Remember, loose strokes. Feel the energy of the pose. For the next 90 minutes, I pretended to draw while watching my wife. She worked with complete focus, her pencil moving across the paper in confident strokes that surprised me. When had she learned to draw like that? The receipt showed supplies purchased 2 days ago, but her technique suggested more experience. During the break at 8:15, Julian made his rounds, offering feedback to each student. When he reached Emily, he stood close behind her, his hand on her shoulder as he leaned down to examine her work. Beautiful line work here. His voice carried across the quiet studio. See how you've captured the tension in the shoulders? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Emily beamed up at him. I've been practicing at home. It shows. You're a natural. His hand lingered on her shoulder for 3 seconds too long before he moved to the next student. I gripped my charcoal pencil so hard it snapped. You okay there? The woman at the easel next to mine, 60-something, kind eyes, glanced at my broken pencil. Yeah, sorry. Pressed too hard. Happens to everyone. I'm Dorothy. First class? That obvious? She smiled. You're holding the pencil like a pen. Loosen your grip, use your whole arm. Here. She demonstrated, her movements fluid and practiced. How long have you been coming? I asked. 6 months. Julian's an excellent teacher, very dedicated to his students. Something in her tone made me look at her more carefully. Seems like it. Especially the newer ones. He likes helping people discover their potential. She glanced across the circle at Emily. Your wife is quite talented. She's picked it up remarkably fast. My blood ran cold. My wife? Dorothy's expression shifted to confusion, then concern. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought… You two came in together once, didn't you? I must be misremembering. No, I'm here alone, single. She nodded slowly, but her eyes said she didn't believe me. My mistake. When class ended at 9:28, students began cleaning their stations, chatting as they packed supplies. I kept my head down, wiping charcoal dust from my hands. Emily, can you stay back a minute? Julian's voice cut through the general conversation. I want to show you something for the weekend workshop. Several students filed out. I took my time, organizing my new supplies with deliberate slowness. David, how was your first class? Chloe appeared beside me, ever cheerful. Great, really enjoyed it. Wonderful, see you Tuesday? Definitely. I walked toward the exit, then paused in the doorway, turning back as if I'd forgotten something. Julian and Emily stood near the platform, heads close together, looking at something on his phone. She laughed at whatever he showed her, that same tilted head laugh from earlier. His hand rested on the small of her back. I left before I did something I'd regret. In my truck, I sat in the darkness and pulled up our shared cloud account. No new photos. But Emily's location showed she was still at the studio. 9:47 p.m., 18 minutes after class ended. I drove home, fed the dog, checked on the kids, both already asleep, and waited. Emily came home at 10:23 p.m., cheeks flushed, eyes bright. How was your client meeting? She asked, dropping her bag on the counter. Productive. How was class? Amazing. I'm learning so much. She pulled out her sketchbook, flipped it open to show me rough charcoal drawings of draped fabric and shadowed figures. Julian says I have a real eye for composition. Julian's the instructor? Yeah, he's incredible. Really knows how to bring out people's potential. I looked at the sketches, then at the last page. A detailed drawing of a man's profile, strong jawline, slightly messy hair. That's really good, I said. Who's that? Just practice, a study. She closed the sketchbook quickly. I'm exhausted. Going to shower and head to bed. After she went upstairs, I photographed every receipt in her purse, every page of her sketchbook, and sent them all to Brian Pearson with a single message. Found the connection. Art instructor. Need to know more. His response came 30 seconds later. Good work. Keep attending classes. Document everything. Don't confront yet. I deleted the messages and went to bed beside my wife, who smelled like turpentine and lies. The Tuesday class ended at 9:15 p.m. I watched Emily pack her supplies with practiced efficiency, sliding her sketchbook into a leather portfolio I'd never seen before. Julian touched her shoulder as she zipped it closed. Brief, familiar, possessive. Thursday, he said. Wouldn't miss it. She smiled at him with an expression I used to think was mine alone. I hung back, letting the other students file out first. Dorothy gave me a knowing look as she passed, and my stomach tightened. If she recognized me, how long before someone mentioned it to Emily? I waited 5 minutes after Emily left, then drove home by a different route. Her car was already in the garage when I arrived at 9:47 p.m. I found her in the kitchen, heating up leftover lasagna, still wearing the paint-smudged shirt from class. How was your evening? I asked, setting my keys on the counter. Good. Caught up on some reading. She didn't look at me. The Jacobson proposal is due Friday, so I've been reviewing their brand positioning. The lie came so easily, so practiced. Kids asleep? Tyler's finishing homework. Madison went down at 8:30. She pulled the lasagna from the microwave. You eat? Grabbed something earlier. I climbed the stairs to our bedroom, each step heavier than the last. In the bathroom, I washed my hands and stared at my reflection. Paint under my fingernails, cerulean blue, the same shade Emily had been using. I scrubbed it away, watching the water run clear. My phone buzzed. Brian Pearson, how's the documentation coming? Found a second component, art classes she never mentioned. Same instructor keeps appearing in her sketchbook. Very intimate. Same guy from the hotel photos? Don't think so. Different build, different age, still gathering evidence. Good. Keep your head down. 1 week left. 1 week. 7 more days of pretending I didn't know my marriage was a performance. Wednesday morning, I drove to the construction site at 6:30 a.m. The Buckhead renovation was behind schedule. The electrical inspection had revealed code violations the previous owner had hidden behind drywall. My crew needed direction, and I needed something to occupy my hands before I put them through a wall. Jake met me at the entrance, coffee in hand. Boss, thought you might need this. You're a lifesaver. I took the cup, savoring the heat. Where are we on the electrical? Martinez brought in his guys yesterday afternoon. They've rewired the entire second floor. Inspectors coming back Friday. We walked through the gutted interior, discussing load-bearing walls and permit timelines. The familiar rhythm of construction, measure, cut, install, inspect, steadied me. This made sense. This followed rules. My phone buzzed at 11:23 a.m. Emily. Don't forget Madison has soccer practice at 4. Can you pick her up? I have a late meeting. A late meeting? On Wednesday. Her art classes were Tuesday and Thursday. Sure, I'll grab her. I stared at the text. Was this another lie or an actual meeting? How many layers of deception was I dealing with? I opened our shared calendar. Nothing listed for today except Madison's soccer practice. I checked Emily's credit card activity. No new charges since yesterday's art supply purchase at Artisan's Loft. Then I opened the Find My Phone app. Emily's location showed her at Whitmore and Associates. I watched the blue dot, stationary at her office building. At 11:47 a.m., it began moving. South on Peachtree. West on Ponce de Leon. Not toward a restaurant. Not toward a coffee shop. Toward the Riverside Marriott. My hands went cold. I zoomed in on the map, watching her progress. The blue dot turned into the hotel parking lot at 12:03 p.m. It stopped moving. I sat down on a stack of lumber, phone trembling in my grip. Wednesday, a new day. The affair wasn't just Tuesday hotel visits anymore. Jake appeared in the doorway. "Boss, you okay?" "Yeah," I pocketed the phone. "Family thing, I need to step out for a bit." "Take your time. We got this." I drove to Madison's school, arriving 2 hours early. I sat in the parking lot, watching elementary students at recess, trying to remember what it felt like to believe the world was simple. My phone showed Emily's location unchanged, still at the Marriott. 12:17 p.m., 12:31 p.m., 12:45 p.m. At 1:08 p.m., the blue dot began moving again, back toward Whitmore and Associates. She arrived at 1:23 p.m., 85 minutes. A lunch meeting at a hotel. I opened my notes app and typed, Wednesday, March 29th. Emily location tracked to Riverside Marriott, 12:03, 1:08 p.m. Told me she had late meeting. Calendar shows nothing. Hotel visit during lunch hour. The evidence file was growing. Bank statements, hotel charges, art class receipts, location data, photographs, sketches of Julian Torres, student gossip about after-class sessions. Brian had told me 2 weeks. I had 7 days left. I didn't know if I could make it. Madison's soccer practice ended at 5:15 p.m. She climbed into the truck, grass-stained and happy, chattering about a goal she'd almost scored. "Dad, can we get ice cream?" "Sure, sweetheart." We stopped at Brewster's. Madison ordered mint chocolate chip. I got nothing. We sat at a picnic table outside, and she swung her legs, talking about her friend Olivia's birthday party next weekend. "Is Mom coming to the party too?" Madison asked. "I don't know. We'll have to check her schedule." Madison's expression shifted, something uncertain crossing her face. "Dad, are you and Mom okay?" My chest tightened. "Why do you ask?" "You seem sad, and Mom's always busy now." She stirred her ice cream with the spoon. "Olivia's parents got divorced last year. Her dad moved to an apartment." I reached across the table, taking her small hand. "Hey, whatever happens, you and Tyler are the most important thing. You know that, right?" "But are you getting divorced?" I couldn't lie to her. Not about this. Not when she'd see the truth soon enough. "I don't know yet," I said quietly. "But if we do, it's not because of anything you or Tyler did. Sometimes adults make choices that hurt each other, and they can't fix it." Her eyes filled with tears. "I don't want you to leave. I'm not going anywhere, I promise." We sat in silence while she finished her ice cream. The sun dropped lower, casting long shadows across the parking lot. Other families came and went, mothers and fathers and children, all of them looking so normal, so intact. I wondered how many of them were performing too. That night, I waited until Emily fell asleep, then crept downstairs to the home office. I needed to see the art studio receipts again, cross-reference them with the hotel visits, build a timeline that made sense. I opened the filing cabinet where Emily kept her personal documents. The art supply receipts were there. Artisan's Loft, $347 on March 22nd, another $89 on March 28th. But beneath them, I found something new. A receipt from Cafe Intermezzo. March 23rd, 8:47 p.m. 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine, 1 dessert. Total, 94, the same night as her first art class. I checked the location. Cafe Intermezzo was 3 blocks from Artisan's loft. I photographed the receipt, hands shaking. Then I dug deeper into the file. More restaurant receipts. All near the art studio. All on Tuesday or Thursday evenings. March 16th, the Iberian Pig, 127. March 21st, Bistro Nico, 156. March 23, Cafe Intermezzo, 90. March 28th, Kima, 178 dinners for 2. After art class. While I thought she was working late or meeting clients, I sat back in the desk chair, staring at the evidence spread before me. The affair had layers. The hotel visits, probably someone from work, someone in expensive suits, and Julian Torres, intimate dinners, art classes, sketches, touches, 2 men, 2 separate relationships, or maybe one had ended and the other begun. I couldn't tell anymore. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Is this David Patterson? I frowned. Yes. Who is this? Dorothy from art class. We need to talk. Emily doesn't know who you are yet, but she will soon. Meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m., Starbucks on Piedmont. My heart hammered. I typed back, how did you get my number? I have my ways. Tomorrow. Come alone. The message thread went silent. I sat in the dark office, surrounded by evidence of my wife's betrayal, staring at a mysterious summons from a stranger who somehow knew everything. 1 week left, Brian had said. I wasn't sure I had one day. The coffee shop Dorothy chose was a 40-minute drive from my house, tucked into a strip mall I'd never visited. When I pulled into the parking lot at 6:47 a.m., her silver Honda was already there. She sat in a corner booth, hands wrapped around a mug. Mid-50s, maybe, with reading glasses hanging from a beaded chain. The same woman who'd painted watercolor landscapes while Julian hovered over Emily's canvas. Mr. Patterson, she gestured to the seat across from her. Thank you for coming. I slid into the booth. A waitress appeared, and I ordered black coffee I didn't want. How did you get my number? Dorothy smiled thinly. I teach high school English. Finding information isn't difficult when you know where to look. She paused. Your construction company's website lists your contact information. What do you know about my wife? She glanced around the nearly empty coffee shop. I've been taking classes at Artisan's Loft for 3 years. Julian Torres has been the instructor for 2 of those years. And your wife isn't the first married woman he's pursued. Dorothy's voice dropped. But she might be the first one stupid enough to think it's real. My coffee arrived. I didn't touch it. Julian has a pattern, Dorothy continued. He targets women going through transitions, new promotions, empty nest syndrome, midlife crises. Emily mentioned her partnership at work during one class. He latched onto her immediately. How long have they been? I couldn't finish the sentence. The affair started about 6 weeks after she joined the class, so roughly 4 months. Dorothy pulled a small notebook from her purse. I started documenting after I recognized the pattern. The same pattern I saw with Patricia Jennings last year and Amanda Wright the year before that. She slid the notebook across the table. Dates, times, observations written in neat cursive. Emily and Julian leaving together through the back entrance. Emily's car parked overnight near Julian's apartment building. Purchases at the wine shop 2 doors down from the studio. Why are you telling me this? Dorothy's expression hardened. Because Julian's wife doesn't deserve what Emily's doing to her. The words hit like a physical blow. He's married? 15 years, 2 kids, both in college now. Vanessa Torres works night shifts as a nurse, which is why Julian's schedule is so accommodating. Dorothy took a sip of her coffee. I've known Vanessa for years. We volunteer together at the food bank. She has no idea. I stared at the notebook. The other women, did their husbands know? Patricia's husband found out and they divorced. Amanda ended it before her family discovered anything. Dorothy leaned forward. But Emily's different. She's not just having an affair with Julian, she's funding his lifestyle. What do you mean? The studio's struggling financially, has been for a year. Julian convinced the owner to let him run advanced workshops for select students, private sessions at premium rates. She pulled out her phone, showed me a screenshot of the studio's website. Advanced Portraiture Workshop with Julian Torres, $500 per session. Emily's attended 7 sessions in the past 2 months. $3,500. On top of the hotel rooms, the dinners, the art supplies I'd found receipts for. There's more. Dorothy's voice dropped even lower. Julian's planning to open his own gallery. He's been soliciting investments from his special students. Emily wrote him a check for $10,000 3 weeks ago. The coffee shop tilted. How do you know that? Julian bragged about it to another instructor. I overheard them in the supply room. She pulled her phone back. The gallery opening is scheduled for Friday night. He's featuring work from his advanced students. Emily has 3 pieces in the show. Friday, 2 days away. Julian's been telling Emily she has real talent, that she could make a career of this if she had the right support. Dorothy's lip curled. The same things he told Patricia and Amanda, the same promises. I thought about Emily's sketchbook, the romantic drawings of a faceless man. The paint smudges that never quite matched her stories about still lifes and landscapes. The whispered phone calls I'd heard through the bedroom door. Why haven't you told his wife? Dorothy's hands tightened around her mug. Because Vanessa's mother is dying. She's been splitting her time between the hospital and work for the past month. I can't. Her voice cracked. I can't add this to what she's already carrying. Not yet. But you'll tell me. You have children in the house. You have a right to protect them from this. She met my eyes. And honestly, I want Julian exposed. I want everyone who thinks he's this talented, sensitive artist to see what he really is. The notebook sat between us, filled with evidence of my wife's betrayal. Not just the affair itself, but the money, the lies, the investment in a future that didn't include our family. The gallery opening, I said slowly. Will Emily be there? She's listed as a featured artist. She'll be there. Dorothy paused. So will Vanessa. Julian invited her specially, told her it was an important professional milestone. She switched shifts to attend. A public event. Witnesses. Evidence on display, literally in the form of Emily's artwork. My attorney's voice echoed in my head. 2 weeks. Don't confront her until we have everything documented. But 2 weeks meant the gallery opening would pass. The investment money would be spent. Julian would continue his pattern with the next vulnerable woman. What are you going to do? Dorothy asked. I picked up the notebook, flipped through pages of careful documentation. Times Emily had told me she was working late, but was actually at Julian's apartment. Dates that corresponded with hotel charges on our credit card. Observations about intimate touches, whispered conversations, the way Emily lit up when Julian entered the room. I don't know yet. Dorothy nodded slowly. The opening starts at 7 p.m. There's usually a speech around 8, when the featured artists talk about their work and thank their supporters. She paused meaningfully. Julian always speaks first, then introduces his special students. A platform, an audience. Emily's colleagues from Whitmore and Associates would likely attend. She'd mentioned the opening to Madison, called it a work networking event. Julian's wife would be there, expecting to celebrate her husband's success. Other students, other potential victims. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. Running early meeting, won't be home for breakfast. Love you. I stared at the message. Wondered if she was actually with Julian, if they were planning the opening together. If she'd already mentally spent the life insurance money I'd stupidly kept her as beneficiary on. Mr. Patterson? Dorothy's voice pulled me back. Whatever you decide, you should know. Emily's not going to stop on her own. Julian's convinced her she's special, that they have something real. She's already talking about taking a sabbatical from work to focus on her art. She told you that? She told another student. I overheard. Dorothy stood, gathering her purse. I've given you what I know. The rest is up to you. She left a 20 on the table and walked out. I sat alone with the notebook and my cold coffee, pulled out my phone and opened the shared calendar. Friday night was blocked off. Gallery opening, Artisan's Loft, 7 p.m. Emily had added it 2 weeks ago, marked it as a work event. My attorney had said 2 weeks. That would take me to next Tuesday. But Friday's opening was the perfect storm. Public venue, witnesses, Emily's professional contacts, Julian's wife, physical evidence in the form of artwork and investment. I opened my messages, typed, "Brian, we need to talk. Something's come up." Then I sat in that coffee shop booth and planned how to burn my wife's new life down before she could build it any higher. I didn't wait for Brian's call. By the time I left the coffee shop, I'd already made 3 decisions that would detonate everything. First, I drove to my bank and requested a full accounting of every joint transaction from the past 6 months. The banker, a woman named Jennifer who'd handled our accounts for years, printed everything without questions. When I asked for documentation of the $10,000 check Emily had written to Julian Torres, her expression flickered with something like pity. "I remember this one," Jennifer said quietly. "Your wife came in personally, said it was for a business investment." "Did she say what kind of business?" "An art gallery." Jennifer slid the copy across her desk. Emily's signature, bold and confident, authorizing the transfer of money that was supposed to fund Tyler's first car next year. Second, I called Brian Pearson. "I know you said 2 weeks," I started. "What happened?" I told him everything. Dorothy's notebook, Julian's pattern, the gallery opening, Vanessa Torres working night shifts while her husband seduced married women, the $10,000 investment. Brian was quiet for a long moment. "Friday's gallery opening. That's in 2 days." "I know. If you confront her publicly, it could affect the divorce proceedings. Judges don't like drama. And if I wait, she drains more of our accounts, invests more in this fantasy, maybe convinces herself to leave before I can protect the kids." Another pause. "What are you planning?" "I'm going to that opening. I'm going to let Emily introduce her art, thank her supporters, live her new life in front of everyone who matters to her." I gripped the phone tighter. "And then I'm going to tell the truth. David, I'll have documentation, bank records, hotel receipts, location data, everything. I'll be calm, factual, no scenes." I took a breath. "But I'm done pretending, and Julian's wife deserves to know before he destroys another family." Brian exhaled slowly. "If you're determined to do this, at least let me be there, as your attorney and as a witness to how you conduct yourself." "Fine." "And David, after Friday night, your marriage is over. You understand that?" I thought about Emily's laugh in the hotel photos, her sketches of Julian's profile, the way she'd looked at me that morning and lied about an early meeting. "It's already over," I said. "I'm just making it official." Thursday crawled by like a wounded animal. I went to the construction site, reviewed electrical plans, approved invoices, normal tasks performed by a man whose life was about to implode. Emily came home at 6:30, carrying takeout from the Thai place we used to love. She kissed my cheek, casual, automatic, and called the kids for dinner. We ate pad thai and spring rolls while Madison talked about her science project and Tyler complained about his English teacher. Emily smiled, asked questions, played the role of engaged mother with an ease that made my stomach turn. "So tomorrow's your gallery opening," I said, keeping my voice neutral. Emily's fork paused halfway to her mouth. "Yeah, I'm really nervous. I'd like to come, support you." Her eyes widened. "Really? I thought you'd find it boring." You've been working hard on your art. I want to see what you've created. I held her gaze. Can you get me on the guest list? Of course. She pulled out her phone, typed quickly. I'll text Julian, the instructor, and let him know you're coming. Julian. She said his name like it was nothing, like he hadn't helped her betray everything we'd built. Great, I said. What time should I be there? 7, but the main presentation started 8. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Thank you, David. This means a lot. Her hand felt cold in mine. Friday arrived with unseasonable warmth. I dropped the kids at my sister Rachel's house, telling them Mom and I had an important event. Madison hugged me tighter than usual. You seem sad again, Dad. I'm okay, sweetheart. Just tired. Rachel met my eyes over Madison's head. I'd told her everything 2 days ago. Needed someone to watch the kids in case things went badly. She'd cried, then gotten angry, then helped me pack overnight bags for Tyler and Madison. Call me when it's over, she said quietly. I will. Brian Pearson arrived at my house at 6:15. He wore a dark suit, carried a leather briefcase, looked every inch the attorney he was. You have everything? He asked. I handed him a USB drive. Bank statements, hotel receipts, location data, photographs, Dorothy's documentation, credit card records, everything organized chronologically. He pocketed the drive. And you're sure about this approach? I'm sure I'm done lying. We drove separately to Artisan's Loft. The warehouse district had transformed for the evening. String lights hung between buildings. A red carpet led to the studio entrance. A banner proclaimed, Spring Showcase Emerging Visions. I parked 2 blocks away and walked. Brian met me at the corner. Remember, he said, calm, factual, brief. Let the evidence speak. I know. The studio had been transformed. White walls displayed artwork in professional frames. Soft jazz played over hidden speakers. Well-dressed guests held wine glasses, admiring paintings and sculptures. I recognized several faces from Emily's office. Her boss, colleagues, clients. And there was Emily. She stood near the back wall, wearing a black dress I'd never seen, her hair swept up, laughing with a group of admirers. 3 paintings hung behind her. Watercolors of the city at sunset, technically proficient, emotionally hollow. Julian Torres appeared at her elbow, handed her a glass of champagne. He wore dark slacks and a white button-down, sleeves rolled to his elbows, the casual artist aesthetic. His hand rested on Emily's lower back as he leaned in to whisper something. She lit up like he'd given her the sun. I felt Brian's hand on my shoulder. Steady. I'm fine. We moved through the crowd. I kept my distance from Emily, studying the other artwork, waiting. At 7:40, I spotted Vanessa Torres. She stood alone near the entrance, wearing scrubs under a cardigan, clearly having come straight from the hospital. Her face was drawn, exhausted, but she smiled at the guests who passed. Proud of her husband's success. Unaware that he'd been destroying her marriage for years. Dorothy appeared beside me. That's her. I know. Are you really going to do this? I looked at Vanessa Torres. Then at Emily, glowing in Julian's reflected attention. Then at the guests, Emily's colleagues, Julian's students, people who believed they were celebrating art and talent and creative passion. Yes. At 8 o'clock, Julian moved to a small platform at the front of the studio. Someone dimmed the music. Guests gathered, wine glasses in hand. Thank you all for coming tonight, Julian began, his voice smooth and practiced. Art is about truth, about revealing ourselves authentically. The artists featured tonight have shown tremendous courage in pursuing their visions. He talked for 5 minutes about creativity and vulnerability and the transformative power of artistic expression. The crowd nodded along, murmuring appreciation. "I'd like to introduce our featured artists," Julian continued. "Each will say a few words about their work and their journey." He called 3 names. Each artist spoke briefly, thanked Julian for his mentorship, received polite applause. Then, and finally, Emily Patterson, whose watercolors capture the beauty of transformation. Emily stepped onto the platform, champagne glass in hand, radiant. She thanked Julian, called him an inspiration and a guide. She talked about discovering her passion, about the freedom of creative expression, about investing in yourself. The word investing hung in the air. I moved forward through the crowd. Emily was mid-sentence, something about how art had awakened parts of herself she'd forgotten, when she saw me. Her smile froze. "David? I didn't see you come in." "I've been here." I stepped closer to the platform. "You were talking about investing in yourself. How much have you invested, Emily?" The room went quiet. "What?" Her laugh sounded nervous. This isn't the time." $10,000, I said clearly. "That's what you invested in Julian's gallery. Our money. The money we were saving for Tyler's car." Julian moved toward Emily, protective. "Sir, I don't know what you think. I think you've been having an affair with my wife for 4 months." I pulled out my phone, opened the photo album I'd prepared. "I have documentation, hotel visits, restaurant receipts, location data. All of it time-stamped and verified." Emily's face went white. "David, please what? Please keep pretending?" I looked around at the crowd, her boss, her colleagues, Julian's students. "Please let you keep spending our money on your art teacher while telling me you're working late." Brian appeared at my side, silent support. Vanessa Torres pushed through the crowd. "What did you say about my husband?" I turned to her, this exhausted woman in hospital scrubs. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But Julian's been having affairs with his students. My wife is one of them." "That's a lie," Julian's voice rose. "This man is clearly unstable. I have photographs." I held up my phone. "Hotel rooms, intimate dinners, your husband touching my wife, all uploaded automatically to our family cloud account." Vanessa's hand went to her mouth. Emily stepped down from the platform, reached for me. "David, you don't understand. I understand you've been lying to me for months. I understand you've spent nearly $20,000 on this affair. I understand you drew sketches of him in the notebook you told me was for landscapes." My voice cracked. "I understand our children ask me if we're getting divorced because they can feel that something's wrong." The room was silent except for the jazz music still playing softly overhead. Emily's boss, a woman named Patricia I'd met at company events, stepped forward. "Emily, is this true?" Emily looked at me, at Julian, at the crowd of people watching her perfect facade crumble. Tears started down her cheeks. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered. That's when Vanessa Torres slapped her husband. The sound cracked through the studio like a gunshot. Julian stumbled back, hand to his face. 15 years, Vanessa said, her voice shaking. "I worked night shifts so you could teach during the day. I put you through graduate school. I believed in you." "Vanessa? How many?" She moved closer. "How many students? How many women?" Julian said nothing. Dorothy stepped forward, holding her notebook. "I documented 3 in the past 2 years. Patricia Jennings, Amanda Wright, and Emily Patterson. There may be more." The crowd erupted, students demanding answers, colleagues backing away from Emily. Someone called for the studio owner. I felt Brian's hand on my arm. "We should go." But I couldn't move. I watched Emily collapse into a chair, sobbing. Watched Julian try to salvage the situation with empty words. Watched Vanessa Torres walk out with her dignity intact, leaving her husband to face the consequences alone. Patricia, Emily's boss, approached me. "Mr. Patterson, I'm deeply sorry. This is completely unacceptable. Emily will be placed on immediate administrative leave pending an investigation." "Thank you." She hesitated. "For what it's worth, you deserved better than this." Brian guided me toward the exit. As we reached the door, I looked back one last time. Emily sat alone, mascara running, her black dress and champagne glass and watercolor paintings suddenly meaningless. She'd traded everything real for a fantasy, and now both were gone. Outside, the spring air felt cool against my face. Brian walked me to my truck. "You did well in there," he said. "Calm, factual, exactly what we discussed." "I destroyed my marriage in front of 50 people." "Your wife destroyed your marriage. You just made it public." He handed me a business card. "This is a therapist who specializes in divorce trauma. For you and the kids. Call her Monday." I pocketed the card. "What happens now?" "Now we file. I'll have the papers ready by Wednesday. We'll seek primary custody given her affair and financial misconduct. The documentation you gathered will support everything." He paused. "You should also know, Vanessa Torres will likely divorce Julian. When she does, Emily's investment in his gallery might become part of the marital assets to be divided. You may be able to recover some of that money." Small comfort, but I nodded. "Go get your kids," Brian said. "Hold them tight. And remember, you didn't cause this. You just refused to live in the lie." I picked up Tyler and Madison from Rachel's at 10 p.m. They were still awake, watching a movie, eating popcorn. When they saw my face, they knew. "Dad?" Tyler stood up. "What happened?" I sat down between them on Rachel's couch. "Your mom and I are getting divorced. It's not your fault, and it doesn't change how much we both love you, but we can't be married anymore." Madison started crying. Tyler's jaw clenched, trying to be strong. "Where will we live?" Madison asked. "With me, in our house. Your rooms, your school, your friends. All of that stays the same." "What about Mom?" "She'll find a new place. You'll see her regularly. We'll work out a schedule." I pulled them both close. "I know this is scary. I know it's not what you wanted, but I promise you, we're going to be okay." Rachel brought tissues, hot chocolate, the comfort of routine and chaos. We went home that night, just the three of us. I tucked Madison into bed, listened to Tyler's angry questions about why Mom would do this, held my children while they processed the end of the only family structure they'd ever known. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Emily. "I'm staying at a hotel tonight. Can we talk tomorrow?" I typed back, "My attorney will contact you Monday. Don't come to the house." "David, please, I can explain." "There's nothing to explain. I have all the evidence I need. You made your choices. I never wanted to hurt you." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, "But you did, and you kept hurting me, every day, for months." That was a choice, too. I blocked her number and went to check on the kids one more time. The divorce took 6 months. Emily fought for joint custody, but the evidence, the affair, the financial misconduct, the lies, worked against her. I got primary custody with Emily having visitation every other weekend and Wednesday dinners. She moved into a small apartment in Midtown. The partnership at Whitmore and Associates was quietly revoked. She found work at a smaller firm, took a pay cut, started therapy. Julian Torres's gallery never opened. Vanessa divorced him and received half of everything, including the investments from his students. I recovered $4,200 of Emily's $10,000 contribution. The rest was lost to legal fees and Julian's debts. Julian moved to Nashville. Last I heard, he was teaching art classes at a community center. Dorothy sent me a card 6 months after the gallery opening. "You gave Vanessa the truth when she needed it most." That took courage. I hope you and your children find peace. Tyler struggled the most. He was angry at Emily for months, refused to see her for the first few visits. Eventually, with therapy, he started rebuilding a relationship with his mother. It looked different now, more guarded, less trusting, but it was something. Madison adjusted faster, the way younger kids sometimes do. She still asked questions about why Mom had made those choices, but she accepted the answers I could give. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes hurt the people they love. It doesn't mean the love wasn't real, but it does mean things have to change. As for me, I threw myself into work. The Buckhead renovation finished on time. I took on 3 more projects, built my business into something bigger than it had been. I started running in the mornings, lost the weight I'd gained in the last years of the marriage, rediscovered who I was outside of being Emily's husband. I didn't date, wasn't ready, maybe wouldn't be for a long time. But I also didn't lie to myself anymore. Didn't ignore red flags or make excuses for behavior that felt wrong. I'd learned that lesson in the hardest way possible. 1 year after the gallery opening, I was sitting at Tyler's baseball game when my phone rang. Unknown number. David Patterson? Yes? This is Vanessa Torres. We met briefly at the gallery. I sat up straighter. I remember. How are you? Better. Divorced, working days now, rebuilding. She paused. I wanted to thank you for telling the truth that night. I know it cost you, publicly exposing everything like that. You deserved to know. I did. And because of you, I got out before Julian could do more damage. Her voice softened. I heard your divorce finalized. How are your kids? Adjusting. It's hard, but we're managing. That's all we can do, isn't it? Manage, adjust, keep moving forward. She hesitated. I also wanted you to know, Julian contacted me last month. Wanted to reconcile. My chest tightened. What did you say? I told him I'd rather be alone than be with someone I couldn't trust. She laughed quietly. It felt good. Final. Good for you. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, and to tell you that what you did, standing up in front of all those people refusing to protect her lie, that was brave. Your kids will understand that someday. After we hung up, I sat in the bleachers and watched Tyler pitch 3 strikeouts in a row. Madison was at the concession stand with friends, laughing over nachos and soda. Normal kid things, untainted by the adult disasters that had reshaped their world. They were resilient. We all were. The marriage I'd thought was solid had been a performance, held together by my willingness to believe and Emily's skill at deception. When I finally looked directly at the truth, no matter how much it hurt, the performance ended, and in its place, slowly, painfully, something more honest began to grow. I didn't have answers about love or trust or whether I'd ever risk either again. But I had my children, my integrity, and the knowledge that I'd chosen truth over comfortable lies. Some days, that was enough. Some days, it had to be. Epilogue. 3 years later. Tyler graduated middle school with honors. Madison made the select soccer team. I expanded my construction business to include commercial properties and hired Jake as a full partner. Emily remarried. A quiet ceremony, a man from her new firm, someone who hopefully didn't know about art classes or hotel rooms. The kids went to the wedding. I sent a card. I started dating someone I met through Rachel, a teacher named Beth, who'd been divorced for 5 years and understood the careful way you rebuild trust after betrayal. We took it slow. Maybe too slow. But neither of us was in a hurry to repeat old mistakes. The house felt different now. Lighter, somehow, without the weight of unspoken resentments and hidden truths. Tyler had his friends over without worrying about tension between his parents. Madison sang in the kitchen again. One Saturday morning, I found an old photo album in the garage, pictures from the early years of my marriage to Emily. Young faces, genuine smiles, a couple who'd believed they'd last forever. I didn't throw it away. Those moments had been real, even if they hadn't been enough. Even if they'd been built on a foundation that couldn't withstand the weight of time and temptation and the slow erosion of honesty. I put the album in a box labeled "For the Kids When They're Ready" and stored it in the attic. Because that was the truth I'd finally learned. You can't build a life on lies, but you also can't erase the past. You can only acknowledge what was, accept what is, and choose carefully what comes next. I chose truth. Messy, painful, public truth. And on the other side of that choice, I found something I hadn't expected. Peace. Not happiness, not yet. Maybe not for a long time. But peace with my decisions. Peace with my integrity. Peace with the man I saw in the mirror. Someone who'd been betrayed but hadn't become bitter. Who'd been hurt but hadn't closed himself off completely. Who'd lost a marriage but kept his soul. The kids would be okay. I would be okay. And that knowledge, hard-won and honest, was worth more than any comfortable lie I could have kept living. The end.